Quantities were sent as rations to the front, so much that Marmite had to expand their factory. The war was kind to other brands too. Perrier was able to see off its competitor Apollinaris, which unfortunately was German. Dairy Milk, already Cadbury's most successful line in 1914, became comfort food at the front. And when tea supplies were pooled in 1918, Typhoo was given an exemption that allowed them to continue to source their special leaf-edged tea after customers wrote hundreds of letters to the government. While it may have taken a war to cement their hold on the British public, the power of these food brands remains one of the Edwardians' most potent legacies.
There's a gastronomical tour of Paris on BBC4 this weekend, in France on a Plate. That's here at 9:05 on Saturday. Next tonight, though, how will a shop on the brink cope with its second chance? Department Store is here in a few moments.
Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker, and the powers that be have granted me 16 whole seconds to tell you about
Actually,
Screenwipe.
Charlie, it's only 10. Screenwipe tomorrow at 10:30 on BBC4.
Meet the people who shaped the most influential period in European culture. The family who turned an entire city into a work of art.
The Medici were the first rich men to live fast and die young. They didn't just want to be rulers, they wanted to be absolute dictators.
The architect who built the perfect house.
Palladio is unique.
All the Palladian villas have great presence.
And the painter who created the concept of art history.
It's still the essential guide to the Italian Renaissance. Vasari's story is full of bawdy humour, outright lies, even murder. It's full of some of the very greatest art ever created.
The Art of Italy, Wednesday at 9 on BBC4.
Jerry Robinson interviews Sir Terry Leahy in an hour's time here on BBC4 after Peter's department store is given a new lease of life in the second part of our brand new series.
Are you buying a jacket for a special occasion?
Beg pardon?
Are you buying a jacket for a special occasion?
Yes, for a wedding actually.
Oh, right, lovely.
A wedding outfit, yeah.
Smart though, isn't it? Smart.
Yes, it's smart, but it's too tight. I need a size bigger.
Oh, right.
It's just what I was looking for.
Years ago, most towns had their own independent department stores, but now many are closing down. These charming old emporiums can't compete with big out-of-town retail parks. I think that's sad. For a nation obsessed with shopping, where has our choice gone? So I set out to visit 3 of the stores that are refusing to shut up shop. I wanted to know if they could still survive in the cutthroat world of modern retailing. Peters in Huddersfield is a department store which has for decades remained very popular with the older lady by selling the same brands year in, year out. Roman Originals, Alexon, Eastex.
I like Eastex because they're nice and roomy and they last a long time.
But 2 years ago, these long-standing loyal customers faced losing Peters. A rival department store chain had opened up less than 100 yards away. Peters couldn't compete and went into administration.
The business turned from a reasonably tidy profit to not a very nice loss. We were in trouble.
The shop had been in the Whittle family for generations.
They took the keys off me in front of all the staff and they just basically threw me out.
David Whittle lost his shop and his job. But 4 months later, a wealthy businessman bought Peters out of administration, and he asked David to work for him. Now the new owner wanted David to oversee the £500,000 makeover of the shop in an effort to attract a younger customer.
We've knocked a hole through between the 2 first floors. We did this in the spring of this year, which has given us an extra 800 square foot. We've got a hairdresser's coming to join us there.
The plan is to transform the shop into a high-fashion emporium.
We're trying to make it look like Harvey Nichols. Customers will come in and we will sell them the shoes, we'll sell them the lingerie, we'll sell them the clothing. They can have their hair done, they can buy the products. It'll be white, it'll be bright, it'll be light. It'll have new merchandise on it, it'll be great. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? You get on with your whining.
White, bright and light, the face of Peters.
So, how would the more mature customer feel about this new face of Peters? In charge of buying the fashions for the more mature lady is Caroline Whittle, David's wife. She started at the shop 20 years ago as a Saturday girl before falling in love with the boss's son.
We're going to take this floor quite upmarket. We're going to do some really different designs for the autumn. We're going to do just Cavalli. We're going to do very different jeans. For All Mankind jeans, 7 jeans.
How do you describe your own you've got a very distinctive style.
Have I?
Yeah.
What's that, do you think?
I don't know. What I'm asking you.
What do you think my style is?
Well, it's distinctive. I mean, no, it's fashionable.
Is it?
And those boots.
High gloss, patent boots, very fashionable.
Are they designer boots?
Yeah, they're designer boots, yeah.
Like David, Caroline also had a vision of a younger, more upmarket Peters. But despite the changes, I wanted to know if an old family-run department store like this still had a role to play in the modern high street. I could see Caroline and David were committed to change, but over the next 6 months, it would be far from easy.
Is that a bargain?
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Is this your favourite shop?
Yes. Never fail to come.
You like your bargains? Well, we all do.
Thank you very much, dear.
See you later.
Goodbye.
It wasn't just the customers they would have to convince. In some departments, it would be the staff too. Two floors up, Peter's rickety old lift deposits you outside the Coffee Mill restaurant. With dishes like lamb cobbler and toad in the hole, it's been a social hangout for Huddersfield's senior citizens for decades.
It's reasonable priced, you know, for what you get, and you can pay as much for just a sandwich in other shops, you know.
And where else do you go where they have real flowers?
Caroline was convinced if the coffee mill could bring in more customers, they in turn would spend more money in the shop. She got together with her kitchen staff to discuss her new vision. She was worried some of the staff had become a law unto themselves.
I was struggling with jacket. You know, I had that lovely quiche the other day. Well, and I got a salad and it was revolting. It was a piece of brown lettuce with, you know, I want some dressing on it. There was nothing on it.
And I've gone and ordered it twice now. It's mixed leaves.
I mean, she did a wrap the other day. She put prawns and ham in it.
Prawns and ham in the same wrap?
Yeah. She says, well, I
ham
did.
And cheese together.
Yeah, no, not prawns.
Prawns and ham?
Yeah. She says they do go together and I don't. I've seen them together.
Prawns and ham? That's revolting.
I've never seen it.
Where's she seen it?
Don't know.
It's because she's always done it and she don't want to change, and her way's the right way, no matter what.
I wasn't sure I liked the idea of a prawn and ham wrap any more than Caroline. She wasted no time in amending the menu with the help of her PA, a 20-year-old called Lynn, who was on work experience from Huddersfield University.
There's a lot of pies.
Potato topped chicken.
I don't think that reads well.
That's revolting.
Potato
topped chicken pie. Who has chicken? Oh.
It's like...
You don't have chicken you have chicken in a pie, but you don't have chicken with potatoes on the top of it, do you? That's gross.
It's like a sort of chicken version of shepherd's pie.
That's horrible.
Probably like doesn't sort of trip off your tongue very well, does it, as a name?
No.
Who makes up these recipes?
Anne, obviously, is my catering manager. She once sent that home, and my children thought it was gross. David, do you remember when she sent that chicken dish home with mashed potato on the top of it?
I don't even eat it, and I'll boys eat anything.
Chicken and asparagus pie.
I think they're changing it. Chicken and rosemary and orange breadcrumbs. Is that any better?
No, it sounds revolting. Right, so what else can we come up with?
In making these changes, Caroline was going straight over the head of her kitchen manager, called Anne.
How long have you been here?
1st of September this year, I've been here 21 years.
Wow, it's a long time. Is it easy to sort of accommodate all these changes that Caroline wants to make, or does that sometimes ever cause like?
Well, we do try. And it can be difficult when you're on a busy day. You've got a lot to cook, you know. But we do try our best to everything she asks us to do. We do try and do it from her.
What? Oh, crumbs!
I should have been in there.
What are you doing in the ladies?
We were trying to fasten that lady's zipper up and it took 4 of us to do it. So.
4 weeks had passed, and downstairs work on the lifestyle floor was behind schedule. The builders had not turned up. The place was a mess.
Builders have walked off, gone home. Absolute waste of space. Well, just wait till one's paying. He's got to do that where people are walking and get it done before customers start walking on it. It's a pain. Builders, don't work with builders, particularly builders in West Yorkshire.
Despite the slow progress, I had faith in David's vision of a shiny new Peters. And I could see parts of the shop where change couldn't come quick enough. Like the lift. On one occasion, I caught David in a real panic.
Are you all right?
Turn the power off. Yep. Where? Where? Show me!
What's happened?
We've got an emergency. Somebody stuck it lift.
Someone stuck in lift?
Yeah.
Just go away.
How do we get them out?
David's tried key, but he just can't seem to get the door open, so he's ringing lift people to find out why. It should open on the key.
Can you hear me? Are you all right in there?
No. Well, we're anxious to get out, of course.
I've got to go to work. Do you think we can do something pretty fast, please?
I think someone's going to be coming soon.
Pardon?
I think someone's coming soon.
Hello?
Hi, I've just spoken to the lift company. The engineer has left his job in Home Firth. He's coming immediately to us. He'll be with us in 10 minutes. 10 minutes he'll be with us, okay? Okay, hang on.
See, you're shooting it back too far.
Yeah, but it's what's happened is it's the mechanism on the door that's gone.
Yeah, you see, it catches that camera.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I am really sorry. Are we all right? Are we boiling?
Yeah.
No, I'm
right.
just late for work.
Can we get out then?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We've got a friendly policeman to help us. No, how are we going to manage
That's
this?
good. We on camera getting out. Cheers, guys. Don't bother.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry about this. Nice and steady.
I should think you are. We all need a stiff drink now.
Oh,
Will you get me one more?
are you okay? You all right?
It must have been a bit scary, was it?
No, 6 of us in there.
The time to be scary is when nobody knows you're there.
Yeah.
Nothing scary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thankfully, it was only 1 floor up for a sugary tea in the coffee mill. How many years have you been coming?
Yeah. Since it opened. Since it opened.
Since it opened?
Yeah.
Really?
Since it
All that time?
Yeah. And to me, before that, with my mother, when we had 2 shops.
Yes.
And then I
How
bought
many years
everything for
roughly?
my son. I don't know better
How many
from both
better?
shops. because they used to sell baby clothes and prams and things.
To these customers, everything in the shop would have seemed fine, but behind the scenes, all was not well. Caroline had got wind that one of her staff had been drinking at work, and she was carrying out random locker checks.
Thank you very much. Oh, you've got a very tidy locker, Michelle. That's nice to see.
3 staff were asked to open their lockers.
We'll let Caroline have a look with you. I can't do that with you.
We've just got to pull everything out and just go through. That's okay. You're still sniffling?
In one of them, Caroline found some empty cans of Strongbow cider. Then she found a flask which seemed to contain alcohol.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to temporarily suspend you. I'll suspend you on full pay, and we're going to have to do an investigation. Okay. If you gather all your things, I'm sure we'll have to. Bobby will take you down. Have you got anything else in the? I'll take those. Just take all your things out of your locker. Okay.
This was an unsettling sequence to film, and afterwards I could see Caroline was affected by it.
Shaking.
Phew, that wasn't nice, was it?
The staff member in question resigned the next day. Elsewhere in the shop, I was met by a wall of silence, and Anne, the kitchen manager, wouldn't speak to me.
I'm not going to comment on anything like that, you know. As well as work colleagues, I mean, we're sort of friends as well.
The incident in the locker room had sent a shockwave around the shop. But Caroline and David were used to trauma, having been through the administration. I wanted to know how that time had affected them as a family, and asked them about it one night over dinner.
I made this, Richard. Made it last night, especially.
It was a chance to meet their 2 sons, Johnny and Joseph. There was an older sister called Charlotte, but she died 10 years ago.
Is your mum a good cook?
Yeah, she is. My Auntie Vic's better than her. Hey! Thank you.
Because she works full time, she sets the oven, and at 5:30, 6 o'clock, that oven can have roast potatoes, lamb steaks, everything organised, ready. We've got an absolutely lovely first-class meal to eat.
Was there a time where you had to tell your boys about the administration?
Yes, there was, yeah.
David and I discussed it one night, and said, you know, this is the time when we've actually got to sit down and talk to them, because obviously it was going to hit the newspaper.
Did it make you feel sort of vulnerable, you two?
To me, I didn't know what administration meant, and
we didn't.
And basically, we couldn't go back into Piers, which was a bit weird because we
banned us from the shop.
They banned us from the shop, and we didn't know what was happening, so like we thought we'd never see like.
And all the staff were asking you, weren't they?
Happened, yeah.
Every time you met people, what was happening and what was not, and it's difficult for them to explain.
Yeah.
So you boys were banned from Peters too, were you?
Pretty much. They didn't want us in the shop, so.
I was banned. I was told not to go in. I was told I had to make a phone call if I wanted to go in.
When the administration happened, Dad had to go and work in Workington, and that was Monday to Friday. So we only saw Dad at weekends, and Mum worked on an evening at Mass, and we didn't see Mum until like 7 o'clock in the evening.
Did you think that time made your parents quite miserable?
Well, it was definitely harder because we saw less of each other.
I returned to Peters with 4 weeks to go before Christmas.
It's
not candid cameras, eh?
I'll put my can. We don't want to break it for you.
For all retailers, this time of year is make or break, and David and Caroline knew it. David was still hopeful the lifestyle floor would be open in time for the Christmas trade, but in the meantime, he'd been given a new job by the owner. He was to scrap another relic of the old shop, the tills.
And unfortunately, there was, what, £2,500 here,
And it's
and it's now scrap metal.
The new owner wanted to monitor the shop's progress over this crucial time of year, so a high-tech tilling system was being installed. This meant every time an item was sold at Peter's, the new owner could see it immediately from his head office in Leeds. The staff were given training on the £25,000 system
With a nice short list like this.
by a man called Richard, who was head of till installations.
Extra prawn, then Technico's in there. And they just choose the next item and so on. And Bob is your uncle.
But in reality, the new tills proved a real headache.
Card out. It's given us an authorization code, and then we click OK. Right, is it printing anything now?
Nope.
After several days, the till problem had still not been resolved.
User not found, thank you.
So the shop's owner decided to take the matter into his own hands. When Stephen Buck arrived, I hoped to ask him about the store, but instead he got embroiled in an argument with Richard, the till installer.
You're telling me that to be able to put something in the system, you've got to know what it is. You've got to create a barcode for it.
Well, of course.
So go on then to tell me what I do.
Really, you should have used the style matrix.
Well, that's what I'm on.
I can't read your mind, Steve.
No, but you've told me the only way I can get into Style Matrix is by going into this area here. So I've gone in there and I've put onto the stock item matrix.
You have just created a stock item. That's what you've done. You didn't tell me that you wanted to do for the same style number, the same price, the same supplier, and basically the same description.
I'm not prepared to invest any more money into this system with putting price points at the till point, just with the retail price and the barcode. It is of no interest to me whatsoever. So when can we meet up? Rich?
I can't hear you clearly. All I can hear is lots of noise, but you're trying to do something in the space of a few seconds where you clearly don't know anything at all about the system.
When can we meet in
You've never seen this before.
When can
You've never seen the system before. We sent you a demo disc that you said you've gone through and you went through all of this.
I suggest you call him back and arrange a meeting.
You only showed me the basics. I don't know.
And you get me here.
Mr. Buck left before I had a chance to talk to him, but I could see why Caroline and David were so keen to make the shop a success again.
We're used to it.
Do you think if you were a high-flying businessman like Mr. Buck, would you have a different business manner, do you think?
Oh, my mum thinks I'm a little demon anyway. So I hope I'm never going to...
Who's a demon?
My mum calls me a little demon anyway. For what?
Shall I tell you something, Lynn? Shall I tell you something, Lynn? You aren't in the same bloody league as that man.
I know, I don't think I want to.
And you never will be.
No,
Neither am
I never will. No, we're not, are we? It's a different level.
Shall we flip through it, will you?
On the top floor, the coffee mill was full of Christmas shoppers, and this meant the kitchen was getting busier. So David and Caroline decided to recruit another cook. They went to a temping agency to help them. Within just a few hours, the agent arrived with his ideal candidate.
I work for various agencies round town.
Since for the last 2 years? Yep. You haven't had permanent employment for the last 2 years?
No. I've been doing a lot of cash in hand, which is wrong.
Well, you wouldn't do cash in hand for agencies. So tell me who you've worked for in the last 2 years. Where you've worked the last 2 years.
I was claiming sick.
Well, you can't do that. When you're working for... You can't be on the sick working for an agency.
Not for an agency.
What were you on the sick for? What were you doing?
Sciatica.
I want to get the truth here. You've been on the sick for 2 years.
Yep.
And you've been working for agencies. So you have to tell the agencies that you're on the sick. No. Where have you been working the last 2 years?
I've worked in various...
No, listen, Elon.
No,
Tell me now where you've been working the last 2 years, or we'll finish it here and now. Tell me where you've been working the last 2 years.
I've worked In Ilkley. I worked in
Where?
Harrogate. In care homes.
Right.
I can't remember the names.
Right,
off the top of my
okay.
head,
Well,
they just send
have
you
you been
out.
working for Trevor in Ilkley and in Harrogate?
No.
Did you work for the...
I worked for Trevor out on the building sites and warehousing and anything, just so I had some money coming in to pay for my car, which I've now just got rid of because it needed a new engine. So I can't have a car.
Unless you again, where have you been working the last 2 years?
All over. Wherever I could get.
I'm sorry. I'm
wherever I
future
could get cash in
employer.
hand. I'm sorry.
What do you think? We're wasting our time here. Sorry.
Okay.
End of interview. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you for coming in. But if you can't answer my question, I can't employ you. Okay, thank you. I want to work with you. I want to go forward with you. But if I've asked him 4 times where he's worked. If he can't answer my bloody question, I can't give him a job.
Don't worry.
I'll come and talk to you and we'll have a chat later.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no worries. All right.
I would no more give that man a job. I mean, was I being rude or what? I wanted an answer to my question. What do you think?
I've never, in 23 years of my business, ever seen anything like that. Absolutely gross. It stinks in here, don't you think?
It does smell of something, yeah.
Booze!
Stinks of booze.
Stale booze! What a joke. Are you filming this?
Is that his CV?
This is going in the file.
After the interview, it dawned on me what a huge job Caroline and David had running this shop. Independent stores like Peter's don't have big HR, IT and finance departments like the big chains. She and David did absolutely everything themselves. David spent an hour fixing a computer problem, and in the coffee mill, Caroline was upset by the state of the bread rolls.
Feel that? Morocco. Flowers have got no water. Anne-Marie, the flowers have got no water, they're dying. Hard work, aren't they?
It struck me that no detail about this business was too small for Caroline to get involved with. She was everywhere at once.
They want to look at your bag and they want to go, it's Jay Shilton, I'll come in on Monday and get that, don't they? Yeah. All right. See, that one's fallen down as well.
Always making sure the new Peters was on course to succeed.
This is my shop. I don't want you anywhere in the vicinity. Move it now, otherwise I get the police.
But I was about to see another side to Caroline, a side obsessed with keeping busy even outside of work. One day she invited me to meet her at 5:30 in the morning at her gym.
You a member of the gym?
I am actually, yes. But I'm nowhere near as healthy as you.
Every morning, Caroline would do a grueling 1-hour workout or go for a 3-mile jog.
So you don't subscribe to the view that people who do an awful lot of exercise are dull and boring?
Absolutely. A lot of people are, I don't subscribe. No, I don't subscribe at all.
Yeah, no.
I like to do it in the morning so it's over and done with. I used to come twice a day and I came morning and night and they had a membership competition who came the most and I won it every single month.
Really?
Yeah. My name was constantly on the board.
Have you always been really health conscious?
From being 16 I've always been a member of the gym. Even when I had the children I still carried on swimming at 9 o'clock at night.
You don't have to be on the go all the time?
No, but nearly. I am very, very active. I don't walk anywhere, you'll know that from work. I don't walk, I run.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
As I filmed Caroline exercising, a thought occurred to me. This was a woman who refused to sit still at all costs. For some reason, she kept herself very busy, not just in work, but out of work too.
That's nice, isn't it?
It's quite nice, isn't it?
I want to go dancing a lot, actually. Go dancing an awful lot.
Oh, right.
So these sort of things are what you use all the time. You see.
Oh, right, yeah.
So.
What sort of dancing do you do, can I ask you?
Ballroom, Latin, sequence.
Oh, right.
What's the other one? Line dancing.
Line dancing, yes.
And I'm learning to ballet and tap.
Are you?
We're to have outfits soon. We're all the older end, you know, over 60s.
It was the middle of December. Across the country, shops were reporting disappointing sales figures so far this festive season, and the credit crunch was looming. Caroline and David had decided to start their sale early because rival shops nearby had already started making reductions.
Have you bought anything in the sales?
No, not yet.
But there was some good news for David. The exotic lifestyle floor was up and running at last. Caroline was the first customer in the nail bar and the salon.
When we built this floor, so we've got about, I think, 770 square foot. It was a perfect to enhance the store. So it's something that we've always looked at, and it'd be wonderful for me, wouldn't it?
In the new year, a treatment room would also be opened, and then a fashion show would be held to help celebrate the advent of a new, modern Peters. David's job was to organise the fashion show, but actually he had already delegated the setup to Lynn, the work experience from Huddersfield University.
I think what we want to do is we really want to shout that we're Peters and we'll look at the fabulous collections we offer. That's what we want to do. I think it'd be very stylish, champagne, a bit of champagne. I think it'd be nice, wouldn't it? But I don't want them getting drunk too much. Can't deal with the old getting drunk. It'd be embarrassing.
It struck me as strange that someone with such little experience was being put in charge of the event that would herald the new Peters. Mind you, Lynn did have 3 months to do it in.
No, if I know I've got something to show, I just think, right, now I've just got to do it. You've just got to get it done. Sometimes a little bit of pressure does motivate you. I do say that. But sometimes it can demotivate you.
And David seemed quite relaxed about it.
What do you think of Lynn? What do I think of Lynn? She is taking this task fantastically well. It's attention to detail, and that's what we just got to keep Lynn funneled into making sure that detail is right, that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, and it'll go really well.
I hoped Lynn could pull it off.
I don't like running.
Oh, you're on a diet, are you?
Yeah, so we had pie, didn't we? We had the pie.
We had pie, yes.
Well, what diet is that then?
It's called, I'll do it tomorrow.
Don't eat as much. Don't eat as much.
Don't put that and my face and diet together on whatever, will you? Cut and refer to somebody else. She was like a stick.
He's not doing so well, is he? When it comes to the diet?
No.
Have you hardly left anything?
No. Gone.
The coffee mill was packed full of bargain hunters, and Caroline had a timely announcement for the staff.
Listen for the good news. We've got your chef and he starts tomorrow. Hey! And it's the man.
It's the man, is
it? It's the man.
I will.
Never you mind.
All right.
Is he attractive? Never you mind.
I'm just
Is he single? Never you mind.
Caroline had been overhauling the coffee mill as part of the modernisation of Peters. She'd implemented a new menu offering meals like paninis and club sandwiches. And with the arrival of Darren, the new cook, her staffing problems were resolved. Now, just a few days before Christmas, the coffee mill faced its biggest annual challenge, a series of special Christmas dinners with all the trimmings. The meal, which cost £12.50, would be served to diners in one half of the restaurant, while in the other half, teas and coffees would be available to late-night shoppers. Anne, the kitchen manager, was in charge of the event.
There's 4 on here, and that's number 10. I put number on.
Well, we decided to put them all together, have we?
Yes, Anne's already done it all.
Right.
All of this section here.
Okay. We had a discussion that with it only being half full tonight, the first one's always the same.
Yes.
That we keep this bit open and we maybe do coffees
that's
or
fine,
not.
and not a problem with me.
Okay, all right. I'll talk to Caroline.
40 minutes. to get them all set. And next week with more, so let's get this week going.
Is all polished.
I get very uptight at this time, and especially, I mean, really, it's better to have not many on this one because it's like a dummy run, if you know what I mean. Especially girls who haven't done it before. But next week when there's more, I'll be at top at tree more than likely.
The dinner guests were getting into the Christmas spirit. But why was no one drinking tea and coffee?
Closed. Let me just have a word with them. Is the coffee shop not open? Yeah, the coffee shop's supposed to be open, the sign says closed. No wonder we've got nobody in.
Well, I didn't even know somebody had turned it round. Because me and Anne, David asked them, and we said, yeah, we'll keep, we'll open it for people if they want to come in.
Scandalous, isn't it? Anne, have you had many people in?
Pardon?
Have you had many people in other than?
No.
Do you know why?
Because it says closed.
Is that a joke?
No.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy that nobody else has been in. Can you imagine the amount of staff that we've paid tonight and not one other person's been in? Because that sign says no, we agreed that was going to be open.
Yes, but I haven't seen you.
You haven't seen me? I've got a phone that's on 24/7. You're bang out of order.
All right then, fine, I'm out of order. But I come in from 7:30 this morning. I'll be here till end, Caroline, as well. So I do try my best for you. But every time I try, you seem to not be
yourself.
Well, you seem to be getting cross at me, so I'm
getting cross at all. We all do jobs when we've got to be informed at 7 till 9, and that's what you're expected to do.
Right, okay.
If you don't want to do that, then fine. How much do you think we're paying our staff in there tonight? You've brought X in. There's tons of people. We've got to look at that. It's got to be about profit.
But what can I do? What I'm saying is,
you're my manager.
I know, but what I'm saying is, it's done now. I can't do anything about it. I can't open up now.
What happened to us 2 years ago? We went into administration. Why? Because the profits weren't there at the end of the day. That was the Peters before, not the Peters now, and I will not see it happen again.
No. Okay.
Let's leave it.
Right.
See you in the morning, yeah?
Right.
The customers seemed oblivious to the power struggle that was going on just behind them. But the next day, Caroline was still fuming.
I can't let her get away with it any longer. It's been going on now 3, 4, 5 months, and things that I'm asking her to do were just not being done. And that's why I started making minutes. You work with me and we do it together and change, or you leave me.
It was only a few weeks ago that Caroline lost one member of staff. Now I thought she might lose her kitchen manager too.
We had a lot of girls in last night who were all on overtime, so I've got to try and get that money back somehow. Have you managed to have a look at?
No, I haven't done the costings yet.
Right, well I did it myself last night because I thought that might be the case. A rough guide would be about £145, that's what it cost us in overtime, which is an awful lot of money. If we could have managed to, recoup that back, then it would have helped. Have you any ideas on the cost of the meal?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Just a rough guide. I need you to know how much that meal was. I'm mortified that you don't know how much that meal was, because I think years ago you would have known.
I would have.
I know.
But like everything else, it's having the time.
You've got to make the time.
Yeah, but I've been cooking. On days off, I've been in and I've been cooking for.
You're managing that department. Like that. You're managing it as I'm managing every other department. So I've spoken to my HR consultant over in Leeds because I do want to take it further.
A few days after this meeting, Anne handed in her notice after 21 years' service. In the last few days before Christmas, the shop was a sea of customers. The new high-tech tilling system was finally working. The shop was making a profit.
Do you find anything you like?
Yes, I like that one, but I'm coming back on Sunday with my granddaughter, so I'll bring her in and see what she thinks.
Ah, yes. Seek a second opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
That night was the Peters Staff Christmas Bash. Ironically, despite recent fallouts, it was being held in the Coffee Mill restaurant. I talked to David about the loss of his long-standing kitchen manager.
We asked her whether or not she still wanted to resign, and she said yes, she wanted to resign. She come to the end of where she could be at the store. And we respect that. She's a lovely lady. It's just it didn't work out.
Everyone was having a good time. But then it occurred to me, all the people here were with Caroline on her journey to transform the shop. If you weren't on that journey, you were out. For the faithful, Caroline took over the kitchen to make hot beef baps with gravy. She seemed unaffected by the turmoil of recent weeks.
I put it aside for tonight and I want the staff to enjoy it. And I think they are
I returned to the shop in the first week of January. Caroline was dumping the decorations and seemed happy to be starting a new year.
Well, that's not very festive, is it?
It's over. Christmas is over.
But January was traditionally a hard time for the shop, and takings had already begun to slump. Following the busy period of Christmas, the store now looked decidedly different.
All of a sudden, somebody took the plug out. And for the last sort of 10 days to a fortnight, it's dried up. It's really, really gone off.
Just like the heating.
Today it seems to have either stopped or been blowing out cold air as far as I can see.
A customer came in yesterday, she said it was that cold, didn't even just want to try shoes on. She said, so, you know, God knows for people who wanted to try clothes on and things, she said it's absolutely freezing.
And the lifeline to the coffee mill was stuck on the first floor. But there was one piece of good news. The final part of the lifestyle floor was complete. It was a treatment room. A volunteer stepped forward to have a skin consultation. It was Caroline.
Nice new chair, isn't it? I could fall asleep.
I think this was the first time I'd seen Caroline sit still.
The condition generally looks good.
On the shop floor, there were few customers around, so I had time on my hands. Stacey confided to me that business was dismal while she gave me a foot massage.
How do you feel about how it's gone since you arrived?
It's so quiet. I think we had about 30 people past the counter yesterday.
Are you taking a lot less money than you'd hoped at this stage?
A lot less. I came in thinking it was going to be really busy, that the store was going to be really busy, so that would generate a lot of customers. So it's quite frustrating, but hopefully the fashion show will bring some in, which is just a waiting game at the moment.
There were 4 weeks to go before the fashion show, the night which would celebrate the birth of a new Peters.
Obviously the fashion show is there to show the public of Huddersfield what we're trying to do in Peters. But more importantly is we also want to increase our sales.
This meant Lynn, the work experience, was getting busy.
Just left these things. What do you think to them?
I think they're lovely posters.
I think they're fun. I don't like it. I think Alice was just like, it's very pink, Lynn.
Lynn was making plans to help entice people back into the store.
To promote for me.
I will.
Get them. I want tickets, Dan.
Right then.
What we were thinking of is that maybe you could give a 10% discount on the night or a 20% discount for a file and polish.
If it's just for the evening, then that's not a problem. At least it gets the word out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we thought for you. Yeah. To help with sort of like promoting you as well, maybe you could do like the 10% on the night for your products, and maybe you could take a raffle prize as well.
No problem.
I'm liking your backing. Thank you. See you later, Greta.
I think this will be all right. You can suit you, that.
Where are you taking?
Yeah, well,
You can't see me. Oh, what a couple of...
that's all right. But
All right.
I should look all right in that, Brenda.
Yeah. Turn round. Right, am I right?
Oh, this will suit you, Brenda.
Wait a minute.
Suit you, yeah.
I'm trying to get my phone. It's going to have to take the shut off. Lovely.
I reckon you'll suit this.
What's the cheese?
This will be all right for
I'll have a
you.
look for you.
We were now in February, and things were just starting to pick up in the shop. At this time of year, Caroline leaves Peters to shop for next season's fashions. We started our journey in London.
We found something we love.
It's just a plain black top.
Fishes.
Oh, I see.
In
Right.
season look.
Well, what is it about those little rouged bits that are going to work so well for the ladies in Huddersfield?
If they've got a bit of a fat arm here, it might just hide it.
Then she invited me to Milan, the fashion capital of Europe.
I need to just go look in this shop up here.
Do you like that bag?
Yeah, these are fabulous. We do a lot of silver stilettos, Madame Pelle, so that way I've actually got this one already in Paris. This is the department store in Milan. I think this is something that David and I should aspire to at Peters.
Right.
Nice pocket.
She told me Milan was her favourite place.
They have my handbag. They have my handbag in stock.
And she seemed in a mood to have a good time.
This is Rocket Republic. It's American.
Do you think Caroline here dresses like a typical English woman?
Yes. I'm joking. No.
I didn't know whether that was
I don't know how funny or not.
yours.
Is it upstairs in the restaurant? Sushi. This is a new floor. This is more from here last time.
Here in Milan, I got the feeling Caroline was being seduced, not just by the clothes, but by the shops themselves.
2 or 3 years ago, I had a vision of doing in the basement a year sushi line I've been to in London lots of times, or Manchester, to do a chocolate bar and to do a champagne bar. God, that would be fantastic. So I could go and have my nails done, I could have my hair done, I could go to the champagne bar, I could eat chocolate and do sushi all at the same time.
These swish emporiums were what Peters could only dream of being. But they did share one thing in common: an upstairs restaurant.
So when did you open this? When was this open?
In October.
Ah, right. Oh, fantastic. Oh, gorgeous.
The best terrace in Milan.
Wow, really nice. They're just trying to build Harvey Nicks out of the Harrods. It's fantastic. God, look at that.
In terms of a sort of a cafe at the top of a department store, it's a bit different to the coffee mill.
The clientele looks a little different.
Once the sun had gone down, I got talking to Caroline about her darkest hour at Peters.
All the staff were called, I don't know, about 8:45, 9 o'clock in the morning. So as soon as all the staff were in, we all went to the coffee shop, and the administrator stood there and said what he had to say, and then we stood forward and told them.
Really? And they didn't know anything about it? No advance?
No.
It must have been...
We didn't know until the night before that it was actually going to happen. And people said to us, but you must have known. We didn't. No idea.
Does it make you feel very sad now to talk about it?
Yeah, it does.
It's obviously such a big part of your life. I mean, I suppose the thing is, they're like a family to you, really, aren't they, the shop? I mean, it is a family-run business, but you've also been there, you know, all your working life, and you must have felt very bad for the staff.
Yeah, it's for the staff. Yeah, it's hard.
Now, at last, I felt as if I was getting to see the real Caroline.
It's interesting that you're an emotional person like that, because I didn't have you down as that. Well, do you think you don't come across as emotional? You're very emotional, but you hide it well.
Then she started talking about her daughter Charlotte.
Yeah, she was only 10 when she died.
Right. Was it completely out of the blue?
When she was born, she had a heart defect.
Oh.
But she lived a really normal life until she was 10, and they decided they wanted to try and open up her arteries from her heart to her lungs. And it was a really successful operation. But unfortunately, after 3 or 4 days after the operation, it failed. You know, for 2.5 years I cried every night. Every night. Girl, that's why I run.
That's why you run?
Just to escape sometimes.
Just to escape, yeah. And I suppose the thing is, if you sit still for too long, it will come and invade your thoughts, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I only had a week left with Caroline and David at Peter's, but her experiences in Milan had inspired her. In an unused area at the back of the shop, she'd got a vision to create a continental-style terrace cafe overlooking the Packhorse Centre.
Now, after we've been on our travels to Milan, look at this fantastic area here. I just think it'd be fantastic for Peter's, for the coffee shop, to make some sort of terrace looking right over. You can see, look at all the people walking through. It's a busy area.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, I think it's got massive potential, with a deli at one side. And
What would you have on the deli bar?
well, our chef at the moment has started making his own jams and relishes, so how good would that be to sell? They've been very popular. You know, but whether it be strawberry jam, raspberry jam, and the relishes, we've done a couple of different things. Peter's own special relish.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you think people would enjoy sort of sitting out here?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do, because I think it's really light and airy. I think it would be nice sipping rosé wine on the terrace like we did in Milan.
So do you think Huddersfield's ready for something this continental?
Absolutely. We've got to plan, we've got to look forward, and I think it's something that Huddersfield is in need of.
Dazzles wasn't quite the same as looking out at that beautiful cathedral in Milan. But Caroline had improved things in the coffee mill by introducing new meals like Peter's special Caesar salad, and the infamous prawn and ham wrap was no longer being made by Jackie. But now the cafe was to be the stage for the biggest night in the store's recent history. It was hosting the Peter's Fashion Show, a celebration of the department store's new look.
You've got to create a catwalk look, maybe coming straight down here.
It was also my last day at the shop.
Get some girls to help us move all these tables. Bring them back in.
And as the other two came on, the first two went off, so we've set the scene.
Throughout the afternoon, the whole shop was in chaos.
Janet. No, I don't usually am. Put handbag over the top and then I'll know what's going on.
The staff chose glamorous outfits to model at the show.
I love it. The bigger the better. Hats, my baby.
I even helped out with the script for the compare.
Would he say something like, with jackets like these, you'll be hoping it rains?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm liking it.
I like that.
Right, so what happens now? Right, don't run away.
What do I want to do?
Bloody hell, it's all kicking off today, isn't it?
Lynn got herself a fancy new hairstyle in the new salon.
Did you take a stick on it?
I hoped she could pull this crucial event off.
Time is just going to go. Time is just going to go, Lynn. Are the balloons started to go up?
The balloons are just one of the cloak rooms.
Right, who's putting those up?
We'll do those when the coffee shop's cleared.
We've got to keep moving. And it's now 10 to 4. The coffee shop is starting
So we
to
okay
clear.
to take them upstairs now, yeah? Yep, that's fine. I'm shouting.
Upstairs in the coffee mill, the kitchen staff had laid on a nice spread, but there were still finishing touches to complete.
Please, would you just deal with the air conditioning, make sure it's on
really cold?
full whack?
Right, it should be.
Downstairs, there was a problem. Ladies had already started arriving.
We haven't got the staff to do it. Right, they've got to wait. Look, they're early. I'm happy 6 they can come in, that's fine. But they can't wander around now because they've got no staff on the floor.
The ladies had to wait another 10 minutes in the cold.
Right, ladies, you come in when you need it.
When the doors finally opened, they were given demonstrations on the new lifestyle floor, acrylic nails, and massages and facials. And then a glass of wine.
Hiya, would you like to have a glass? White, red or rosé?
But there was a hitch. Too many people had turned up.
No, we need the chairs. I think we've got about 175 people in there. Because people have brought friends and extras have arrived. And it's good.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Ready? Okay?
As it was about to start, there was a real air of expectation.
Good evening, ladies, and welcome to Peter's. Thank you for coming. It's really, really good to see Peter's busy and Peter's buzzing again. And thank you for your support. These girls are not professional models. They're members of staff, they're weekend kids, they're part-timers. I think even my sister-in-law is modelling tonight.
Just enjoy it. Keep your heads up, girls. Keep your heads up and smile.
A DJ from Huddersfield FM, Paul Clark, took the mic.
Am I there, Bobby? Are we there, Bobby? Yeah. I'm in Bobby's capable hands tonight. Thank you very much indeed. Give Bobby a round of applause.
It was fitting, in my eyes, that this celebration of all that Peters was taking place here in the coffee mill. The shop had modernised and was doing well, but it hadn't lost any of its charm.
One more to go, one more.
The old models are the best. That's Caroline's sister. I just said the old models are the best. Whack.
As the store's fashion buyer, Caroline had to travel all over Europe, but her heart was in Huddersfield.
Why are you not wearing any shoes?
She's nicked the shoes and she's nicked her knickers.
After all that Caroline had been through, I could see why she put so much energy into the shop. She had been through enough loss. This was part of her family, and she was determined she would never lose Peters again. But she was going to have to say goodbye to Lynn, who was coming to the end of her work placement.
Lynn is come from Huddersfield University, who's studying fashion buying, God knows why. But she decided that she would actually like to follow me for a whole year. And I can't tell you how fabulous she's been. So I'd just like to say thank you in front of everybody. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
That should have been my last time at Peters. But a few weeks later, I got a call from David. He was keen for me to come back to the shop and see something. The charming old rickety lift had finally been replaced.
You used to jump. Now watch, you're going to the ground floor. It's quieter. Now listen, now watch. Watch. How good's that?
What was that?
Well, absolutely. Normally, you have to bend your knees.
How exciting is our new lift, madam?
Come on.
You may be one of the first new ladies in our lift.
Are you going to sing your
How
drum
exciting
first?
is this? Very nice.
6 months ago, I was concerned that Caroline and David might lose their loyal customers by modernising the shop. But I was pleased to see that wasn't the case. This lift might have been swish and new, but the customers remained reassuringly old.
Are you pressing 2? Yes. Yes, press 2, yes. What do you think?
What about?
Of the new lift?
Yes, very nice.
Good.
Yes.
Very good.
As long as it doesn't break down.
It can be upsetting to some people.
That's
It can be, yes. Have a nice coffee now.
Thank you.
And the final episode of Department Store is here on BBC4 at the same time next Monday. Next tonight, Jerry Robinson gets the inside scoop from Sir Terry Leahy.
Before the first heartbeat, a fight for life begins. And within the walls of the womb, it's everyone for themselves. Mother versus baby.
Right from the beginning, mother and baby are locked in a battle for survival.
Nature versus nurture.
If knowledge is acquired in the womb, where does it come from?
Triumph over adversity.
It's one of the great miracles that babies survive at all.
The extraordinary story of life before birth. Growing Babies, coming soon to BBC 4.
The underwater quest continues.
This is definitely an ambitious expedition, there's no doubt about it.
It is looking pretty beautiful.
Oh, wow! I've never seen anything like it.
This was sci-fi.
An adventure that will take your breath away.
It's uncharted territory.
Oceans. Wednesday and continues Thursday at 8 on BBC 2. Missed the voyage? Catch up with the series so far on BBC iPlayer.
Now on BBC 4, Sir Terry Leahy, Chief Executive of the retail giant Tesco, tells Jerry Robinson the secrets of his stellar success.
I'm Jerry Robinson. I've always been fascinated by the psychology that drives someone to the very top of an organisation. What it is that makes them different, what makes them stand out, what makes them seek the power, the money, the influence that those positions bring. I'm going to meet someone who's had an enormous influence on the lives of very many people in the UK. Someone who started his working life stacking the shelves at Tesco and ended up running the entire multi-billion-pound company. I really want to find out what it is that makes Terry Leahy tick. In 11 years, Terry Leahy has transformed Tesco into an immensely powerful company. Pre-tax profits have leapt from 700 million to a whopping 2.8 billion pounds. He puts his success down to a minute analysis of what customers want.